Welcome back, family. This is the Animated Faith series, where conversation meets conviction and conviction meets Christ. I'm your host, Brother Mo, and today we're continuing our journey through my book, Divided. Not as a book report, but as a heartbeat conversation for anyone who feels the tension, the pressure, or the pull of modern Christianity. Today's focus is the danger of applause-driven faith. Tell me something. When did ministry become more about presence on stage than presence with God? When did worship shift from encounter to entertainment? When did preaching become a brand instead of a burden? And when did serving God become more about being seen than being surrendered? Now, don't get me wrong. I love celebration. Clapping isn't wrong. Joy isn't wrong. Music isn't wrong. But here's the question I had to ask myself. Is the church becoming more like a concert hall? Or is it still a classroom for the soul? Because a concert excites you, but a classroom equips you. Real celebration should come from transformation, not just stimulation. But somewhere along the way, we started valuing applause more than approval. And you see it all the time. The bragging, the pride, the quiet self-gratification. There is a subtle danger in today's church world. Not loud sin, not obvious rebellion, but quiet seduction. Applause. And let me be clear. There's nothing wrong with applause. Encouragement is biblical, support is healthy, and affirmation can be a blessing. But here's the danger. When the applause starts feeding your ego, instead of pointing to his glory, that's when humility starts dying and pride starts growing. And Scripture tells us, pride goes before destruction. Not because God hates confidence, but because he knows what happens when his creation takes his credit. Because applause feels like affirmation, but it can slowly poison obedience. Jesus warned us about this in Matthew 6. He said, when people do righteous things to be seen, they already have their reward. Meaning, God won't repay what you did for attention, because the attention was what you wanted the entire time. And family, that's not punishment. That's permission. God is simply letting people receive exactly what they asked for. Because when being seen becomes the goal, we stop living for heaven and start living for the crowd. Crowds don't always mean calling. And popularity doesn't always mean obedience. Just because people clap for you doesn't mean God is confirming you. Some churches aren't chasing God anymore. They're chasing algorithms, chasing laughs, chasing views, and yes, chasing money. Some ministries aren't asking what honors God. They're asking what gets more engagement. When is the next conference to learn the new power phrases? What is that other church doing that we are not? We measure success by numbers, views, followers, and emotional reactions. But God measures success by obedience. And that leads us into something deeper. Because when applause becomes the fuel, we slowly lose our awe. And that's when worship turns into routine, prayer turns into performance, and holiness becomes optional. What if we've grown confident, but not reverent? What if we've grown platform, but not humbled? What if our faith has gotten louder, but our fear of God has gotten quieter? Because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Not terror, but reverence. Not fear of punishment, but respect for his holiness. And when reverence disappears, self takes over. A church without awe becomes a stage. A faith without reverence becomes a trend. A gospel without holiness becomes entertainment. And that's the danger of applause-driven faith. Not that people clap, but that we start living for the claps. And here's the question. Would you still serve him if nobody celebrated you? Would you still worship him if nobody saw you? Would you still obey him if nobody reposted you? Because real faith doesn't need a crowd. It only needs a cross. And remember, you can get claps, but God is less concerned with hands and far more concerned with hearts. This has been another conversation, inspired by my book, Divided, now available on Amazon. If this blessed you, challenged you, or made you think, I want you to like the video, share the message, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, the link to my book, Divided, is in the description below. Let's go deeper together. Until next time, keep loving, keep trusting, keep believing. God bless.